Hi, and welcome everyone to this presentation of soft skills. My name is Brenda Brinkerhoff, and I'm one of the Career Services Advisors. Here in the room with us is Landria Manchego. She's with Career Services as well. There's a lot to cover in today's presentation as well, so if you have any questions that I'm unable to answer, if you'll go ahead and just message Landria separate from the chat room that says all, then go ahead and do that. Now, if you have something to add into the conversation, then I encourage you to put it into the all, and most likely I will read that. So be certain that if you're putting it in the all, that it's not something that you want to have as private. So if you do need to talk about something that's outside of today's presentation, go ahead and message Landria separate. And I do encourage your participation. So if you want to contribute, go ahead and put that in. But like I said, I might actually read it. Now, if there's something that I'm not getting to because I didn't notice it and it went too fast, go ahead and, again, send that to Landria, especially if it's like a question that you need answered. I'm going to be going over a lot of resources that Career Services provides as well, and I'll be citing several resources at the end of this. So take an opportunity to grab a pen and paper, take notes, and then stay all the way to the end so you can get all those resources, okay? All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, first I'd like to talk about what Career Services purpose is so you understand how soft skills play into everything that we do here. We give specialized career-driven advice, and we educate you on how to build your own personal brand name. We provide tools such as networking and communication skills, and our goal is for you to obtain the most highest salary possible in your chosen field. So kind of think of us as your career coach. We provide employment opportunities for you to apply for, and Career Services is dedicated to your professional and personal development. That's where the soft skills comes in play. And a lot of people have asked us at that point, so what is professional and personal development? Well, I went to businessdictionary.com, and it says that what it is basically refers to is an acquisition of skills and knowledge for career advancement, which it encompasses all types of learning opportunities that range from your college degree to formal and informal coursework, that is, learning situated in practice through consultation, coaching, mentoring, and reflective supervision. That's why soft skills comes into play with Career Services. And then again, a lot of students have asked what the differences are between soft skills and hard skills. So again, I went to businessdictionary.com, and it said that unlike hard skills, which are about a person's skill set and ability to perform a certain task, such as your education, soft skills are personal attributes that are often described by using terms associated with personality traits, the ability to be practical, and to just genuinely like other people. So it's often said that hard skills will get you an interview, but you need the soft skills to get and keep the job. Welcome. If you're going to be coming into the classroom, you're going to need to give us your real name so that you can get credit for the class, just saying. Okay. This is the 10th webinar in the Soft Skills series for this year, 2014. So this is number 10 of a series of 12 presentations that last anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour each. And this is in hopes that these will aid you in improving your career readiness for when you transition from the classroom to the workplace. All right, today's topic is on leadership and teamwork. And as you can see, there are 8 subtopics that I will be going over today. And the reason for these topics in particular is because it's been long assumed that employee skills are just naturally occurring, but they're actually not. In fact, businesses are only now coming to the realization that their employees lack the soft skills needed. So today is going to be all about leadership and teamwork. I want to start out with what is teamwork. So what is the definition for teamwork? And I just love businessdictionary.com, so I went there again. And it says the definition is the process of working collaboratively with a group of people in order to achieve a goal. teamwork is often a crucial part of a business, as it is often necessary for colleagues to work well together. So, trying their best in any circumstances, teamwork means that people will try to cooperate using their individual skills and providing constructive feedback despite any personal conflicts between individuals. So, that being said, you probably wonder, well, what's the importance of having teamwork in the workplace, right? Well, it's very crucial actually. So that's the next topic I wanted to discuss is the importance of teamwork. So teamwork is basically the glue which keeps a team together. It's a bond which promotes strength, unity, reliability, and support. Teamwork is also the oil that makes the team work. It can enable smoother movements towards targets, it can prolong forward momentum, and it can help teams to overcome obstacles. Teamwork has the potential to underpin so much of what is valuable in work. So teamwork is important because it creates synergy, where the sum is greater than the parts. It supports a more empowered way of working, removing constraints which may prevent someone from doing their job properly. It promotes flattery and a leaner structure with less hierarchy, and encourages multidisciplinary work where teams cut across organizational divides, and it fosters flexibility and responsiveness, especially the ability to respond to change. It pleases customers who like working with good teams too. Customers can sense that team camaraderie, and it promotes the sense of achievement, the camaraderie, and it's essential for a motivated workplace. When managed properly, teamwork is a better way to work. And I like how that one quote there says, teamwork makes the dream work. And I just think that's such a great stance, that if we have a dream that we want to get to, we have to develop the teamwork in order to get there. And I just love some of the things that are on here, like Steve Jobs. He says, great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. And team stands for together, everyone achieves more. And I especially like the Minions teamwork. It's in a nutshell. One person's doing the work, the other two people are just messing around. Hi, welcome, Grace. Thank you for coming. All right. So on that note, let's go ahead to the next subtopic, which is setting team goals, which we just mentioned. In the definition of teamwork, it all plays around a common goal. And here I've got these cute little ants here. Teamwork occurs when diversity, abilities, and insights join together to work toward a common goal. So yes, it's obviously a very important fact that we need to have a goal in mind. It keeps you motivated, it keeps you propelling forward. A team without a goal is like a house without a frame. It will simply fall apart with the slightest nudge. So every company, whether it produces cars or television shows, they should have a clear goal in mind. Individual teams must understand what that goal is and know their role and how they play into that, both individually and as a group, in accomplishing it. Firstly, goals should be demanded. We are far more motivated by challenging goals than by moderate or mediocre goals. So be clear about it. That's, of course, that is, of course, provided they're not set too high and seen as unachievable, because that could definitely be a problem if you're setting the goal too high. But demand it as a manager. This is something that's required, is the teamwork. Secondly, goals should be specific. General unclear goals are not motivational. Clear, specific goals are. It's also worth considering that goals perhaps shouldn't be so specific that they don't allow flexibility to achieve things, in a different way, as the context and situation may change over time. So this usually involves a number of steps. I went ahead and put together these steps. What can you do to establish team goals? And I have a few of them here for you. Well, first of all, let's see. Set and establish the vision and purpose of the team. Define a clear sense of identity. And then what are the meaningful results the team is trying to achieve? So these are good questions for you to ask yourself. And then Confirm the goals and intended results with others in the organization. What are the tasks the team needs to do to achieve meaningful results? And why should they do the task? Involve your team in adding the details to these steps. The more you've involved, the greater sense of ownership and commitment that it will be. So you can see the team comes back into these confirmation of goals and setting the goals and setting the intent for the goal and setting the task for the goal and the meaning for the goal by asking yourself these questions as you move from being team players into a management position in leadership. Then you need to be setting these clearly, defining them clearly, and as you are involved in teams as well, asking yourself these questions so that you can know where you better fit in and can play and getting the goal accomplished. Finally, in the context of team goal setting, we have stressed the importance of meaningful results. The emphasis on meaningful emerges from an understanding of happiness, that people tend to be happier when they're using their strengths to engage in these goal-setting activities. So engage each other in these goal-setting activities and ask each other these questions as well. So I have a video for you next. And like I said before, I believe I got the sound worked out, so we shouldn't have the same problem that we did last time. Now, if you're on your smartphone, you're going to have to probably watch it later because a lot of times it doesn't work unless you're on a laptop. But I'm going to go ahead and I'll put the link in here so that you can see it just in case. But now let's watch this short video about the importance of coaching. This is the next subtopic, is coaching in the workplace. So this is the importance of coaching in a team environment, both as an employee and or as a manager, because this is leadership and teamwork that we're talking about here today. It's really quite an easy thing to incorporate in how you communicate, but often not given the attention that is needed. The importance of coaching and convincing is key to being a good team player and as well a good leader. So go ahead and turn your volume up for this, and I'll go ahead and mute my mic.
I try to acknowledge her point of view, but the team needs to focus on solutions.
What could happen if you didn't do anything?
You mean just let her
Coaching is a conversation, many conversations that move a person forward. Coaching conversations involve active, engaged listening.
You really shifted into high gear just now. I hear conviction behind what you're saying.
You do? I guess this matters more to me than I thought.
Active listening by the coach can shine a light. Without interruption, the person doing the talking can hear herself for the first time. This can offer entirely new insights. Coaching conversations also involve powerful questions.
Tell me, Dave, what could happen if you do nothing?
Could you repeat that?
I asked, what could happen if you do nothing?
I hadn't considered that. I suppose if I did nothing, Roger might take some initiative, which is exactly what he needs to do on this project.
The right question in the right context can trigger new thinking about how to approach a problem. Besides listening and questioning, coaching conversations can also involve suggestions. Suggestions are just that, not direct orders, but ideas to consider.
So, Lori, have you ever considered hitting the pause button when that happens?
I do tend to dive right into things, don't I? Maybe it wouldn't hurt to take a wait-and-see position.
Even if Lori doesn't follow her manager's suggestion, exploring it may trigger insights that will help her meet her objectives in some other way. So for the manager, what's the point of all this listening and asking and suggesting? The key point. Managers who use coaching skills help their people think more deeply, so they can tap their own inner resources to take action and meet a challenge. Coaching in the workplace works. It's being proven every day.
How do you know?
Here are a few interesting facts. A survey of Fortune 100 execs found that coaching's return on investment was 6 times its cost. Another survey found that coaching, as a follow-up to training, increased productivity 88%, 4 times higher than with training alone. and there's more research showing similar results.
I'm impressed.
For managers, coaching is powerful stuff that goes to the heart of being a leader.
That was an awesome video. I really loved how it had the examples of the cartoon characters on what kind of questions to ask, which we were just talking about in the subtopic before this one. And it's important to ask those questions to really get people thinking. And that's what a lot of this is going to be about in teamwork and leadership. And you'll see that in the subtopics to come. The next one is going to be on encouraging learning and growth. So among the many responsibilities that come with leadership is facilitating the learning and growth of those that you serve. Some of the ways you can create a learning environment for your employees is to create conditions that will help your organization to evolve and grow in meeting the challenges and needs found in today's global economy. So I put together there's 4 ways leaders can encourage learning and growth. And number 1 is behaviors and attitudes. So focus on behaviors to change the culture. Behaviors turn into attitudes, and attitudes become the culture. It's the behaviors that your employees see every day that help to shape their attitudes and understanding of what's acceptable from those in charge. The behaviors we exemplify and evoke in others also serves to shape workplace attitudes with it. The culture and values found in your organization come as well. So if you are a manager, you need to be displaying the type of behavior that you want your employees to display, or the culture in itself is going to change. All right, number 2 is meet employees' needs. We have to meet our employees where they are at and with what they need to facilitate the learning and development of your employees, and with it, the growth of your organization. You need to understand where your employees are presently in their career development and what tools and resources they'll need to begin the next stage of their growth. It means not just assigning tasks to your employees to keep them busy, but also giving them the tools to assess and evaluate where to go next, and at times, why things went wrong. This is the key to innovation and learning from failure, where you enable your employees to get things done while providing them with the time and resources to do it. Some of us are probably thinking, wow, it'd be nice to have a boss like that, right? And if you have any examples, feel free to go ahead and share those with me. In Zoom, I can't tell if you're typing, just so you know. Number 4 is be the best and you will benefit. Because if you are the best person when you come to work, your boss is going to benefit. So if you're a leader and you're wanting your people to come into work and do a good job, you're going to want to, find out what it is. What is it going to take to get them to come into work happy? Because then you as a department, you as a culture in your company, the attitudes and everything we're focusing on will benefit as well. So it's easy to assume that putting all of this focus on helping our employees to grow and develop provides mostly a benefit for them and not for the organization. But the reality is that that's how your employees approach their work and their roles within your team will have a tangible impact not only on their performance, but on their willingness to give their discretionary effort to your shared purpose. By showing your employees that you care about what matters to them and want them to be successful in their efforts, it makes it easier for them to care and to be invested in what matters to you and your organization, because they see that you're not just a team or company, but a community gathered around a shared purpose. Doesn't that make sense? So then the very 4th one, in encouraging this learning and growing environment, is to connect through social learning. This is something new that even I was finding out about. At the heart of social learning is connection. So there are 2 important meanings about learning that can be derived from this. The first one is how learning is very much a social activity. Consider, for example, how for most of us, the fond memories we have of our school days are not just about what we learned, but the teachers and the friends that were a part of that learning journey. Being able to celebrate and commemorate with others as they share with us the process of learning about a new idea or technique is unquestionably important to the learning process and the sense of value and meaning that we derive from it. Also, if you look at some of the advice given by those who've successfully dealt with failure, one of the points they make is not to hide these moments, but to share them with others to help with the process of understanding how to frame and learn from those experiences. So, as such, if you want to ensure that your organization remains at the forefront, you need to provide opportunities where your employees are encouraged to stretch themselves, celebrating their successes, and facilitating their ability to learn from their failures. If you want an organization to grow and thrive in today's global market, we have to meet the needs of the employees by understanding what they require, then develop their skills and abilities so that they can become more productive and valued members of the team. It's good stuff today, huh? You guys awake out there? All right, so then the next subtopic I wanted to discuss with you, thanks, Robert, is keeping an open door policy. And you're still awake, Emily, great, thank you. I really liked some of these jokes that I had a joke here. It says, "I'm so glad our boss has an open door policy." Can you see what that is? It's the door to the bosses, and it's just and there's nothing on the other side, so like falling to their death or whatever. And I like the other one that says, "My door is always open, but I'm having it fixed." So it is so important to have an open door policy. In fact, there are certain people who will say, never, ever, ever shut your door, which is true in most cases. And if there's something that needs to be done in private, it can be taken somewhere else. Because honestly, if there's any kind of coaching that's being done, it may be hard for the person to take that. And if you have it in the same room as where you give praise and you do their development plans and you encourage them to share their ideas and feelings, then it can be looked at, it can be looked down, it can be tainted. You could taint that room. So you want to make sure that if there's really important things that may be looked at kind of negatively because you're getting some feedback on something that you failed at, do that in a different place, okay, than your office. So anyway, yeah, your door should always be open. And if there's something that you can't talk about, take it to another room. But in every workplace, there is a present cause and effect in the relationship between manager and employee, which is dictated by every workplace culture and ultimately determines the degree in which employees will approach their manager and raise their concerns or not. This cause and effect relationship can be explained as followed. The effect or the number of employee concerns brought to the attention of the manager is a function of three primary causes. So I've got those here for you. 3 steps to a more effective open door policy. It's set up in a way of the degree to which an employee feels safe raising their issues, the manager's ability to listen silently to the employee, and third, the belief of the employee that the manager will take action to address the issues or concerns. So let's look at these in a little bit more detail. Number 1 would be perceived employee safety. So human behavior is dictated more by a need for safety than anything else, while what we are seeking safety from has changed over the millennium. Our instincts to survive is just as sharp as ever. While we may no longer be at risk of being eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, not being able to support our families or pay for the mortgage could be considered the contemporary equivalent. This means that employees will not only fail to engage in, but actively seek to avoid activities and situations where they believe they may be putting their safety at risk. This could include their physical safety, emotional safety, safety of employment, and etc. So if employees have even the slightest notion that approaching their manager with their concern may lead to reprisal or retribution or ridicule, they will keep their concerns to themselves. So therefore, the onus is on management to create a workplace environment where employees feel safe raising their concerns and create a workplace culture founded on trust, where the employee trusts the manager to keep them safe and where the manager trusts the employee to communicate their concerns honestly. Again, we're talking about a perfect world here, but that is what you would want to aspire to if you were leading. And also the ability to listen silently, okay? This, believe it or not, few managers have mastered the skill of listening silently. Listening silently doesn't just mean not interrupting the other person who is speaking, but it also means keeping your mind silent. And this can be very difficult for many of us whose natural instinct is to listen to just the point we are being that we are thinking about or responding to, or to correct or to rebuke the other person that's the speaking. However, when we do this, we end up hearing our own inner voice more than what the other person is saying. When this occurs, while an employee is trying to communicate the source and magnitude of their concern to the manager, it is common for the manager who is listening more to their own ego-driven inner voice to make incorrect assumptions or reach inappropriate conclusions about the employee and their problem. These conclusions and assumptions will be heavily biased by the experience, beliefs, and perceptions of the manager and not representative of the employee's truth, which will leave the employee feeling unheard and frustrated. Anybody have this experience with their boss where you're just not feeling heard, where they maybe talk over top of you and you really can't get out what you're wanting to, and so you often feel misunderstood and maybe put in a bad light? Sometimes bringing a concern to a manager can be scary, especially if there's no trust there, because you're not sure if they've got your back. And that's exactly why we're making this conversation happen. Therefore, the onus is on the manager to listen silently and fully to the employee without interjecting their own commentary. Only then will the employee truly feel heard and have any confidence that the manager understands where they were coming from. Frustrated employees who feel their manager does not get them or their concerns will keep their concerns to themselves. And actually that is how a department grows, is if they're able to see without the rose-colored glasses just for a second, because then you can look to finding ways of correcting the problem. So, not my boss, but one in another area worked out like this. Yeah. No, there's some really great bosses out there. So, I'd have to say that's not much. One of my number one requirements in a job is that relationship. So demonstrate action by closing the loop. Okay, so the final one, the final third one for open door policy. So demonstrate action by closing the loop. So even when employees feel safe approaching their managers and believe their managers truly listen to what they have to say, employees won't bother doing this if they feel their manager won't take action and do anything to address their concern. This is where many managers miss the boat, including the ones who actually do take action. You see, this is where the old adage, perception is reality, comes into play. Giving managers the benefit of the doubt and assuming that more often than not, a manager does take action to address an employee's concerns. They still rarely bring their actions to the attention of the concerned employee. Instead, the majority of managers continue to go by the old, trust me, I'll handle it, and by the way that they do things. For a moment, place yourself in the shoes of your employee. Imagine you have just gone to your manager to report that you've been threatened by a coworker, and your manager's response was, I'll handle it. And that's it, unless you hear or see of it. In reality, your manager may have approached your coworker and informed them that if they did it again, they would be disciplined. However, all you see is your coworker coming in each day with a smile on their face, giving you some threatening look as they walk past your desk. Well, what are you going to think? Chances are your assumption will be that your manager didn't do anything. Would you go back to your manager again, do you think? Would you bring that up again? I don't know. Some may, but I think many of us wouldn't. After all, what's the point? If, in your perception, nothing was done after the first time, why would anything be different the second time? This is where the importance of closing the loop comes into place. You've dealt with that, Catherine. It's not a very good thing, huh? So that's where managers seem to drop the ball the most, is in the communication. Closing the loop means going back to the concerned employee after you've taken action and tell them what you've done. That doesn't mean that you have to give every detail, because sometimes that's against some of the company privacy policies, but it does mean you can tell the concerned employee that you have taken action, and that if the employee's concern is repeated, to notify the manager immediately. Just that much. That's all it takes. And this gives the concerned employee both confidence that the manager did something to help them, and recourse should the cause of their concern be repeated. So as adults and employees, we all indeed have a responsibility to take ownership over what happens to us in our lives. However, expecting an employee to put themselves in the line of further fire is both unrealistic and unlikely. It is the responsibility of management to create the proper condition that encourage employees to come to them with concerns and issues that management otherwise wouldn't be aware of. And it all starts with something called trust. I really like that one. All right, so I've got another video for you. This one's on sharing ideas. You're going to really like this. And just for all you out there who maybe it's not going to work for you, I'll go ahead and give you that. So far, we've been good. But this is about sharing ideas in the workplace. It's another key element to being a successful leader. Let's watch this YouTube video and gain some inspiration, insights on how to manifest, develop, mature, and eventually have your ideas come to reality. I'll go ahead and mute myself.
For the past 5 years, I've been investigating this question of where good ideas come from. It's a kind of problem I think all of us are intrinsically interested in. We want to be more creative. We want to come up with better ideas. We want our organizations to be more innovative. I've looked at this problem from an environmental perspective. What are the spaces that have historically led to unusual rates of creativity and innovation? And what I've found in all of these systems, there are these recurring patterns that you see again and again that are crucial to creating environments that are unusually innovative. One pattern I call the slow hunch, that breakthrough ideas almost never come in a moment of great insight, in a sudden stroke of inspiration. Most important ideas take a long time to evolve, and they spend a long time dormant in the background. It isn't until the idea has had 2 or 3 years, sometimes 10 or 20 years to mature, that it suddenly becomes accessible to you and useful to you in a certain way. And this is partially because good ideas normally come from the collision between smaller hunches, so that they form something bigger than themselves. So you see a lot in the history of innovation, cases of someone who has half of an idea. There's a great story about the invention of the World Wide Web and Tim Berners-Lee. This is a project that Berners-Lee worked on for 10 years. But when he started, he didn't have a full vision for this new medium he was going to invent. He started working on one project as a side project to help him organize his own data. He scrapped that after a couple years, and he started working on another thing. And only after about 10 years did the full vision of the World Wide Web come into being. That is, more often than not, how ideas happen. They need time to incubate, and they spend a lot of time in this partial hunch form. The other thing that's important when you think about ideas this way is that when ideas take form in this hunch state, they need to collide with other hunches. Oftentimes, the thing that turns a hunch into a real breakthrough is another hunch that's lurking in somebody else's mind. And you have to figure out a way to create systems that allow those hunches to come together and turn into something bigger than the sum of their parts. That's why, for instance, the coffee house in the age of the Enlightenment, or the Parisian salons of modernism, were such engines of creativity, because they created a space where ideas could mingle and swap and create new forms. When you look at the problem of innovation from this perspective, it sheds a lot of important light on the debate we've been having recently about what the internet is doing to our brains. Are we getting overwhelmed with an always connected, multitasking lifestyle? And is that going to lead to less sophisticated thoughts as we move away from the slower, deeper, contemplative state of reading, for instance? Obviously, I'm a big fan of reading, but I think it's important to remember that the great driver of scientific innovation and technological innovation has been the historic increase in connectivity and our ability to reach out and exchange ideas with other people, and to borrow other people's hunches and combine them with our hunches and turn them into something new. That really has, I think, been, more than anything else, the primary engine of creativity and innovation over the last 600 or 700 years. And so, yes, it's true we're more distracted. But what has happened that is really miraculous and marvelous over the last 15 years is that we have so many new ways to connect and so many new ways to reach out and find other people who have that missing piece that will complete the idea we're working on, or to stumble serendipitously across some amazing new piece of information that we can use to build and improve our own ideas. That's the real lesson of where good ideas come from. The chance favors the connected mind.
Wow, huh? I love that. And I want to get this book. It looks amazing. So, anybody have any thoughts on that? Have any thoughts about where ideas come from, being creative, having experience of their own? Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? I love that artist. Well, let's just go ahead and go on to the next subtopic, which is right along the same lines of sharing ideas, and that is creating innovation. And it is part of team playing and leadership to do this. So a startup scene today is an overcrowded space where companies are constantly vying for talent. But hiring talented people is only the first step in cultivating an innovative and creative environment. Building a workplace where there's a constant exchange of ideas involves finding the right formula for your company and culture. You can't force creativity, but the right setting will put your team in the right frame of mind to find imaginative solutions. And I've got 6 ideas to help cultivate creativity in your company. Okay, so the very first one would be easygoing. A relaxed and flexible work environment increases your team's productivity by letting ideas flow. Encourage an atmosphere where the boss is more likely to make you coffee than expect you to make them one. Let go of the traditional 9-to-5 work week and have team members come in to work when they're rested and at their best. Not everyone is an early bird, and that's good. Embrace your employees' natural rhythm, and they'll show up to work fresh and ready to go. Now, these are some real fresh approaches that I would like to see all bosses catch on to. But you want to also hire for your culture. Look for team members who understand your vision and align with your culture. Having a team that shares one vision and works together helps the team run smoothly. This doesn't mean only hiring people who always agree with you, though. Encourage different perspectives. It will help your company stay ahead of the curve. And 3, bring on people who love what they do. Hire people with passion, that they're passionate about what they do. You want people at your company who really care, people who are excited to go to work every day because they believe in what the product is or what the service is that they're offering. Adding people that want to improve your product will be the most beneficial for your company. And it goes hand in hand with the second point of hiring for your culture. It's far more pleasant to work alongside interesting, friendly, and driven people working together on the same goal. All right, and then 4 is encourage diversity. Put together a team with different backgrounds, passions, and capabilities. Having a group with a diverse set of ideas and problem-solving approaches helps push your product forward. Embrace and celebrate your team members' individuality. Out-of-the-box ideas and problem-solving approaches help push your product forward. And then 5 is incorporate sprints. The hustle and the bustle of daily office life can wreak havoc on your concentration. Emails, phone calls, meetings, and distractions are endless. That's where a sprint, a set of amount of time in which your team works to finish a project, can be the solution. Especially with startup developments, they quickly, in the early stages, they work intensely every day, uninterrupted. And when your company has started to grow with a little bit and additional team members on it, having them work in remote locations surrounded by nature is a great way to center your focus and take up a project from start to finish. So basically, this is saying, hey, if you have a great goal in mind and then and then it's done, and you have this like lag time, find something else inspirational. All right, and then the last one is take ample time off. Communicate how important taking vacation is. Our brains are constantly on and connected. Take time off for some R&R. It's crucial for your health and your work-life balance. Word down, workaholics don't produce the highest quality content. You want your employees to be fresh and excited to be at work. Convey to your employees how important time off is and make it non-negotiable. There's plenty of roadblocks your team's going to have in overcoming the breakthrough in your industry. The company's work environment shouldn't be one of them. Reimagine what work should look like, and you'll be surprised at the impact it will have on your team's energy and creativity. The best takeaway for your employees: they won't be boxed in by rigid rules and can focus on building the next game-changing feature instead. So that's why I put the think outside the box on there, and the and just like the innovation quotes and things, because this is the last one in our series. This is the last one. So we've gone over all 8 of them, and that is everything for leadership and teamwork. We've discussed each of these, and I hope that you've been able to take away some valuable insight on these skills needed for the workplace. So that note, does anybody have any questions? And I just want to reiterate that those who are attending the live recording, we've already taken attendance. If you haven't already given your name to Landria and she's asked you for it, then please look and see if she's messaged you and get that information over to her. But for those that are watching the recording, you have to email online.careerservices@stevenshenniker.edu. And I'm just going to put it in here for all you guys who are just interested in having that. You don't have to do anything with it, but if you're just interested in having that, that is our department's email address. Now, you need to tell me which recording you listened to and what date. Please also include something that you've learned from today's presentation in your email if you're listening to this recording. And now I will be sending out certificates this week. Remember, we're only sending them quarterly, so if you haven't gotten yours yet, you will. All right, so I didn't get any questions. I'm just going to go along and give you guys the references. These materials presented today came from these reliable sources, and I encourage you to take note of them, research them, and study them on your own time for additional valuable insight that I wasn't able to share in the presentation because there's just no way. In fact, there's 2 pages of them. So here's the other ones. And then just so you guys know, this is the resources that we also offer here. We have 24 video series in professional development. They're mini series. They're like 3 to 5 minutes long. Here's the address for you guys to go out there and get it. So it would be really good if you were able to watch them all. I'll go ahead and give you guys that. If you're able to go through and watch all 24, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Oh, there's the references. Sorry, I forgot to change my screen. But you can always go back through the recording and get them later too. And there's the professional development series. Starts with number 1 in Introduction to Networking, and there I am. All right, so save the date. These are the topics and dates for the upcoming soft skills I'm presenting through 2014. We only have 2 more to go. Mark these dates on your calendar and try your best to attend these live sessions and participate and contribute any way that you can. All right, these are the ones that are out there already. There's 9 out there already on Shark. These are the recordings that you would go to. Here, let me give you the website here for Shark. And you would go out there, scroll about halfway down the page, and you'll see all of the soft skills recordings. Now, there's also soft skill recordings for 2012 and 13. 2013 is a replay of 2012, but you can listen to all of them if you'd like. Every one of them are eligible for certificates, and there is instructions in each of the recording on how to request your certificate, so please look for that instruction. All right, well, thank you guys. I want to thank you for viewing each and every soft skills webinar. Tune in for our next presentation, November 4th. It's going to be on self-improvement. This one's going to be really fun too. All right, thanks guys for coming. All right, any questions, anybody? All right, so it lasted about 45 minutes today. I appreciate you all attending, and we will see you again next time.